Hello and welcome to your Transverse Abdominal or TVA workout. For this workout, all you're going to need for props is your yoga mat as well as 2 yoga blocks, and you might need a yoga strap. Alright, so let's get started. Coming down, lying onto our back. So we always move by lying first onto our side and then rolling on to our back. Alright, in this position, we're first going to be starting off by activating the transverse abdominals in something known as heavy hips. So you're lying down on the mat, knees are bent, legs are hip width apart. You want to make sure that you are posteriorly tilting your pelvis so that you are engaging the pelvic floor. So this means that there's no arch in the lower spine. You shouldn't be able to fit any hands between your torso and the mat. So you really want to kind of slightly tuck that pelvis, zip up the pelvic floor so that the lower back is pressed into the mat. From there, you can just take your fingers and you can press them into your lower abdominals so that you can feel when they become activated. All we're going to be doing in this position is we're going to be sinking our hips down into the earth. The sensation is known as heavy hips. So I want you to imagine that someone has placed a 100-pound weight on your pelvis and it is pushing you down into the earth. So you should feel this area here, your scapula, you should feel it really sinking down and pushing into the ground. And what is helping you achieve this is your transverse abdominals. So as you sink down and you create heavy hips, you should really feel the transverse abdominals engaging. So press your fingertips into the lower abs and you should feel them become hard as you do this movement. So inhale to prepare and exhale heavy hips. Inhale, release and exhale heavy hips. Zipping up that pelvis, I'm closing my rib cage. I'm tightening my inner corset, which is your transverse abdominals, and I'm literally just sinking my pelvis down into the earth. So inhale to release and exhale heavy hips. And that's all it is. It's a downward movement. Inhale, relax, and exhale, resist down. Push that tailbone down into the ground. Inhale and exhale heavy hips. So it's not a very big movement. You won't really see anything outwardly, but inwardly you should be feeling the abdominals engaging. Exhale heavy hips. 2 more. Inhale, exhale heavy hips. And it's very subtle. Inhale, exhale heavy hips. Great. Okay, exercise number 2. You're going to lift your legs up into an air squat and you want a nice 90-degree angle between thigh bone and shin bone. Flex the feet nice and strong. Legs are hip width apart. If you want, you can place a yoga block between your knees so that you keep the distance correct. Placing the heels of your hand against the top of your thighs, you're going to inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, you're going to resist. Push your knees away from you, but then pull your knees towards your face. So counter resistance, pushing and pulling. Inhale to prepare, and exhale, resist. Push your legs away from you, and then pull the knees towards the face. So in effect, they cancel each other out, and there's not much movement. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. Now you want to also posteriorly tilt your pelvis, zip up the pelvic floor, close the ribs. Inhale, release, and exhale, resist. So you can see on the resistance, my lower back rounds into the mat. Flex the feet. Inhale, and exhale, resist. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. Last one, and we're going to hold it. Inhale and exhale, holding it. So hold the resistance, holding it there. Breathe. Keep breathing normally, but hold that resistance. Good. You should feel it in the lower abs. They should really be engaged and turned on. And release. Hug the knees into the chest. Okay, we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time you're just crossing your hands over. So opposite hand, to thigh. Inhale to prepare, check that your alignment's correct. Exhale, zip up the pelvis, close the ribs and resist. Inhale to release, exhale, resist. Zip up that pelvis. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, watch the ribs, closing the rib cage, posteriorly tilting that pelvic bone. Inhale, exhale, resist, squeeze your pelvic floor, zip it up. Last one, and we're going to hold. Inhale, exhale, and holding it there, closing the ribs, squeeze pelvic floor, engage the abs, tighten the inner corset, round lower back into the floor, squeeze pelvic floor, and release, hug the knees. Great, we're going to be repeating that. This time we're going to be placing our hands on top of our knees this time. And now I'm going to be pushing my hands down while kicking my knees up towards the ceiling. So instead of a forward and back resistance, it's an up-down resistance. Okay. So this time if your feet are slightly lower than your knees, it's okay. But you want to try and aim for more or less a 90 degree angle. So pushing my knees up to the ceiling, pulling my hands down towards the floor. Zip up the pelvis, closing the ribs. You can flex or point the feet, whatever you prefer, or you can just relax them. Inhale and exhale, resist. So slightly different abdominal engagement here. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. Knees up, hands down. Inhale, release. Exhale, resistance. You're not going at 100% effort here. Inhale, exhale. I'd say you're probably at about 60% effort. Just being very gentle with your abdominals postpartum. Inhale, exhale, resist. Inhale, and last one, we're going to hold it. Exhale, resist and hold, closing the ribs, tilting the pelvis, zipping up pelvic floor, engaging the core, tightening your inner corset, resisting knees up, pushing hands down, relaxing the neck, no tension in the shoulders, squeeze pelvic floor, and release, hugging the knees. Alright, so you're going to grab one yoga block and you're just going to have it underneath your head for support. You can also use a small cushion or a small ball. And then the other yoga block is going to go in between your inner thighs. And this is just to maintain that hip width distance apart between the legs. So we're just going to be repeating exactly what we've done, but side lying. And I'm going to switch over sides to give each of the abdominals an equal chance. So I'm flexing the feet and I'm in a nice 90 degree angle here with my squat. I'm still kind of in an air squat. So you really want to make sure that your knees aren't kind of too far away from your hips. You want a nice 90 degree angle between thigh bone and shin bone, and then you want to make sure that your hips are stacked. Top hip is directly over bottom hip and you're not rolling backwards or forwards. And then relaxing the head onto the block, pressing your hands against your thighs, and it's exactly the same thing that we've just done but side lying. So we're going to be resisting our knees away from us and then pulling knees towards face. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, tuck in the pelvis and resist. Closing the ribs, squeeze pelvic floor, rounding the lower spine ever so slightly. Inhale to release and exhale, resist. Inhale and exhale, resist. Posteriorly tilting that pelvis, zipping up pelvic floor, close those ribs. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. So think of this as a warm-up, a transverse abdominal warm-up for further exercises to really activate and switch on your core. Inhale, release, 2 more. Exhale. Inhale, last one. And exhale. And slowly release. And now we're just going to push up and we're going to go towards the other side. So just making sure that we are equalizing our bodies out. Lying down onto the opposite side. Setting up exactly as before. Block between the inner thighs. And this time we are crossing over. So opposite hands to opposite knees. Flexing the feet nice and strong. Make sure that there's no arch in the lower spine. So really zipping up the pelvis, closing the ribs, making sure that the hips are stacked and legs are at 90 degrees. All right, so inhale to prepare and exhale, resist. Push hands into knees, knees into hands, using about 60% effort. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. Zip up pelvic floor, squeeze it tight, closing the ribs, posteriorly tilting the pelvis. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. Good. Inhale, release. And exhale, resist. Couple more. Inhale. Zip up that pelvis, closing the ribs. 60% effort, resisting hands into knees, knees into hands. Inhale, release, 2 more. Exhale, resist. Feel those abdominals engage. Last one, inhale and exhale, resist. Great, okay. For the next one, you're going to come again to lying down on your back. And this is known as a wind removing pose. So very similar with resistance. You're just going to hug your knees into your chest and you're going to aim to grab opposite elbows on top of your knees. If you can't reach your elbows, grab your forearms, your wrist, or even fingertips. Alternatively, if that is still too much, then you can just grab your yoga strap and you can have your yoga strap on top of your knees and just hold on your yoga strap. You're going to be pulling the strap down so that your knees pull down towards the chest and resisting knees up away towards the ceiling. So whatever you're holding, that is what you're doing. So I'm going to be grabbing opposite elbows, so I'm nice and tight, lengthening the back of the neck along the mat. And as you do the resistance, you should feel your tailbone curl down and touch down onto the mat. So at the moment, your hips might be slightly lifted off the mat. That's going to change once we do the resistance. So inhale to prepare and exhale, resist. Pushing knees up towards ceiling while I'm squeezing my arms down towards the earth. Inhale, release. And exhale, resist. Again, just 60% effort, it's good enough. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. Last one, and we're going to hold it. Inhale. Exhale, resist, and hold. So maintaining that resistance while breathing normally. Closing the ribs as much as you can. Keep resisting knees up, pulling arms down or pulling strap down. And slowly release out of that. Good. Shake out the legs. And we're going to go into the final TVA activation exercise. So this is known as Happy Baby, and depending on your flexibility, you may or may not need your yoga strap. So similar to our air squat, but this time we want our feet a bit wider than hip width apart, and we want our feet flat as if we're trying to stand on the ceiling. All right, so with our squat, our feet were facing forward. Now our feet, or the soles of our feet, are facing up. You want to bring your knees down towards your armpits, and then you want to grab either on the outside of your feet, or you could grab your big toe, or you can grab on the inside, really whatever is most comfortable for you. And if you can't quite get there, then that is when you use your yoga strap, opening the legs wide and pulling down with the strap trying to get those knees towards the armpit. Now try not to swing the feet over the face or away from the face. You want them directly facing the ceiling, standing on the ceiling. Open the knees, pulling them down towards you. So whichever variation you're doing, grabbing hold of your feet, pulling those knees in towards the armpits, and we're going to be kicking the feet up while pulling them down with our hands. And the whole time you're thinking about your transverse abdominals and engaging those muscles. So inhale to prepare, and exhale, resist. Kicking up, pulling down. Feel the lower back roll down onto the mat as you do the resistance. Inhale to release. Exhale, resist. Engaging the abs, zipping up pelvic floor, squeezing it tight. Inhale, release. Exhale, resist. Inhale, release. A few more. Exhale. Kicking up, pulling down, lengthening the lower spine onto the mat. Squeeze pelvic floor, closing the ribs. Inhale. Exhale, resist. 60% effort. Last one, and we're going to hold it there. Inhale, prepare, and exhale, resist and hold. Holding it there while you continue to breathe normally. Keep that resistance going. Feel the abdominals engaging along with everything else that you might be feeling. Really focus in on the abs, those deep-seated transverse abdominal muscles, your inner corset. Pull it tight, squeeze pelvic floor, close the ribs, and slowly release. Hug the knees into the chest. Roll over to your side and push yourself up into a seated position. So there you have it. That was your transverse abdominal TDA workout. I hope that you have enjoyed it. This is an excellent one to repeat every single day, even on an active rest day. It's so good for just retraining those deep abdominal muscles to work and knitting back the rectus abdominals, which is going to help close your diastasis recti. So I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.